going. We're back in it. We're back in it.
4.1, people.
4.0 would be nice. But this is season 4.1. This is your podcast for Saturday, January 30th. How the fuck are you doing 2021?
Woo!
What in the rut? Coming to you from Darmstadt in the fucking Kellergeschloss. Did I say Geschloss?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Fucking up my German.
I kind of just sat back and let you do whatever the fuck you wanted to do. You sounded like you were happy about it, so I let you go.
Yeah, I'm already started on the whiskey here.
That was a refreshing break.
Yeah, man. I feel fucking refreshed as fuck. Fresh as a daisy, some would even say. Yeah, man, sometimes you just need a break, and that's the beauty of the Roans here, is we're all forced to take a break, you know? And someday you might look back and be glad. Be glad that you had the time off.
What the fuck?
Not glad about the pandemic. I mean,
Be
come on.
glad about all these masks.
Yeah,
and
man.
not seeing anyone.
I don't know what's going on.
Dude, I am I feel refreshed on a podcast level.
Okay.
I feel absolutely fucking crushed on a personal level when it comes to this fucking isolation with the kids.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
man.
have shit to do.
I would imagine.
Except teach Jack every day and fucking clean the house and do that. Look, I have not that I never had not that I didn't have respect for stay-at-home moms or anything like that.
Yeah.
But good God Almighty.
Yeah.
I look forward to the slightest appointment, which will get me out of the fucking house. Even with the kids. I don't even care if the kids come with. I just want to get the fuck out. Like, I'm happy when one of them has a doctor's appointment. It feels like going to the movies or something. It's just something to fucking do.
Well, we've talked about it before, man. It's like, that's a different world than what I'm doing. But it's like, whenever I go over to your house to hang out, it's like, there's just so much going on.
I've heard you say that before. And when you come over, there's like nothing going on.
No, it's just like
you come over because there's nothing going on.
I know, but I wake up, and I surf my phone, and I look out the window, and I drink a cup of coffee, turn on my computer in silence,
In silence. What the fuck are you talking?
That's what I'm saying. And whenever I come to your house, back in the day, I used to crash at your place a lot, and it's just like sun up to sundown, man. And I don't know how you do it. I got respect for people with kids, man. It's just like, because like if I had a roommate or if I was like living with somebody, I'd be like,
what about a roommate that comes in and snuggles you at 8 o'clock in the morning?
Well, it's not even that. It's that
you
you can't be like, hey man, you need to shut the fuck up. You can't do that, man. And like you can't reason with them.
I kind of did that today.
Yeah.
Look, the problem is,
okay.
I have an issue with my temper and my patience sometimes, right?
Okay, yeah.
I always have. It's never been my strong suit to be the most patient. I'm a very loving father, right? But sometimes I just go, I'm like, Jack, just stop talking.
Yeah.
Just don't talk for a second. My poor little son, and he understands.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I wasn't letting you finish. I'm like, yeah, that's it, buddy. Look, I said I'm trying so hard not to be a dick.
It must be crazy for you.
Can you please just shut the fuck up?
It must be really weird to be on the other side of that for you.
Well, okay. Look, when Jack starts... what is the song he was singing today? Oh, what the fuck was it?
The Baby Shark?
Well, he does the baby. I mean, that comes around every once in a while.
That's still going strong, man.
It's AC/DC Thunderstruck sometimes. It's all kinds. It's all kinds of different stuff, right? But sometimes he'll just go he'll test, and it's a mirror image of how I was as a child.
That's what I'm saying,
a
man.
mirror
This shit
fucking
comes from
image,
somewhere.
right? Of just taking a song.
Yeah.
He's like Bach. He just takes it and does all the variations on it as he can, like baby poop do 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 poop and babe do 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 baby poopy papa poop, and I'm like. At the beginning, I'm jamming with him.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I'm way there, and I'm like doing the harmony. I'm like, baby, poop, 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 poop.
Nice.
And going along, making a day of it.
Yeah.
After a little bit where I'm like, all right, I got to go start doing this again, and I just hear it in the background. I can't compute at the beginning what I'm hearing. I don't know what I'm hearing. All I know is I'm uneasy. I'm terribly uneasy. And that all builds to the point where I fucking realize what it is that is making me so uneasy. And I just go, Jack!
Yep.
Jack, shut the fuck up!
I mean, kids got a special, quality like that because that's why in movies, like, it's like, you got the kids singing. It's the creepiest shit. Yeah, I mean, there's something about it.
But the thing is, I don't want it. It's hard because I don't want to quell his enthusiasm.
I know what you mean.
He's creative. He's good at singing. Oh, what was it? God damn it. He's singing something really, really well. Like there's like a weird jump in it.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like hooking a little bit. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Do it. But that's because he practices. He does it all the fucking time.
It's hard, right? It's hard. Yeah, they have that. I someone in my master's or something did a study about that once about like loud talking voices and opera singers and some sort of correlation or something like that, and how like that shit does affect you from a young age. You know, I've heard that stuff where it's like if someone like tells you like to be quiet all the time. You know what I mean? Like if you're always told that you can't be loud, if you have never ever time to be loud, I think as an adult you have a hard time being loud. And as opera singers, that's a big part of what we do, right?
Yeah, fucking totally. I'm sorry, I got a little thrown off because for some reason you just threw me back to a post that we did on Instagram not too long ago.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, I have to do this. But that's why you saw
get
a
your
blank
list.
stare.
Get your agenda, dude.
No, I have no agenda. I swear to God, I have no
right.
agenda.
Do it.
You just did this, and it's where I posted that video of me saying it's fucking over to Trump, right? And then this fucking Russian coming on here, he says, your opinions are as bad as your singing. And I'm like, whoa.
It's a good bird, man.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah? And what? That was hard to stomach or what?
Yeah, it was a little hard to stomach. I'm like, fuck you, dude. But I'm like, fuck you for saying that. Well, no, fuck it. I mean, he's allowed to have his opinion, but Trump's a piece of trash.
Yeah.
That whole thing that went down was fucking trashy. Like I mean trashy.
Right.
It's fucking trashy. And this guy was saying your opinion is trash just like your singing.
Yeah, it's a burn you get a lot of mileage out of. But yeah, man, you can't give these trolls fucking energy, you know?
Yeah.
I find that whole thing, what is that called? They talked about it in South Park, this like razor, what's it called? Trevor's axiom, right? Do you remember that? I think it's a real thing, Trevor's axiom. It's like person A trolling person B is not what it's about, but it's about like person A trolling person B so hard that person C gets involved.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or group C. And then group D will go after group C, which then starts its effect. And like it's a real thing in the world of social media and online stuff that it's not about the two people having the original argument. Like it's about the people that react to it. And you see this all the time in posts, like in social media posts. Like some page posts something and someone says something or trolls the page directly. And then the person that responds to them is like person C. And then person D is like, fuck you, Karen.
Right.
And then it's it's become a different fucking thing. You know what I mean? And so you're fortunate though, because usually you're forced to be person C or D, but you're allowed to be person A. You know, since you own the page. Right? You just say fuck them.
Wait, would I be not person B? Is person A not the instigator?
I don't fucking know, man.
I don't know, but that's interesting. I'm surprised I don't know that.
I don't know if that's a real thing. I'm honestly just quoting an episode in South Park.
Whatever, it's a real thing in South Park.
I think when I saw that episode, I think I looked it up. I think Trevor's axiom's a real thing, man.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Social media though is fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts how it's changing. And I feel like it's exponentially changing. And I feel like, with the pandemic, a lot of things have changed. And of course, like contactless payment, Zoom, Skype, all this digital bliggly blah shit is going on. But it's accelerating everything, right?
Yeah, fucking.
And one of the things that's accelerating the most is the internet effect on everything. On everything, on every industry, on every type of relationship, literally everything, where we're getting with social media, it's like we would have needed like 3 years to get there. But everybody's at home just consuming this shit. And I feel like it's rapidly progressing faster than a rate that we already couldn't handle.
It's a little depressing.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people are checking out. A lot of people are like, I'm not going on this shit anymore. I'm barely ever on it anymore.
I'm not trying to segue like a motherfucker. But I feel it has something to do with it. Okay. I feel like the endless scrolling gets me into a rut.
Yeah.
Like, gets me into a personal rut. Whenever, I don't... I've never given a fuck about TikTok or anything like that before.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I have found myself, my thumb just flicking up like crazy on these, like, what is it, 5 to 10 second, like, dance videos of the walking man and fucking stuff. Like, I've saved 3 different of those slow ones where they're walking backwards. It's like it's like an exaggerated, it's not quite a moonwalk like how Michael Jackson did it, but they're at the crosswalk. Have you seen this before?
I think so.
Right? So they're at a crosswalk, and then they'll do the step very slowly. And I've saved like 4 of them because I'm like, this is the one that'll teach me how to do it. I have no fucking intention to doing it. And I'll flip on that shit maybe. I'll lose an evening. I'll lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
And I get done and I'm like, fuck, I feel worse.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about it. And it's really an impactful time. You know, like people, I always think about this, and this, we're starting season 4 dark here maybe, but like, I always think about like the fall of like the Roman Empire, all these like these historical great moments that came crashing down.
Yeah.
And do you think people like right before it came crashing down, do you think they were like, shit's about to go wrong?
No.
Or people definitely denied it, right? They were like, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. This is normal. Like, this is exactly like, you know, before Jesus when that shit was going, you know what I mean? Like, It's always you reference an earlier time or something like that. But it's like, I think social media and its effect on society and misinformation is really dangerous. And not just the obvious, like, Trump, like you know, boomer Fox News misinformation, but also for singers and the expectations as musicians and stuff like that. I also think there's a lot of misinformation at the moment.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, tell me, explain.
I don't know. These are just spontaneous thoughts I'm having, but it's like, you know, having a singing career and all the stuff that comes with it, and all the ups and downs and the high points and the low points and the realities of being a singer has no airtime on social media. You don't see that shit at all.
No, you see headshots and you see I feel so blessed.
Everyone's hashtag blessed, and also it's like, they're all fucking blessed. Everyone's showing like show clips. Oh, I missed this stage. Or everyone's trying to be like an opera TikTok star or some shit like that. But it's like, I don't know. Or if people are talking about their struggles, they're still doing it in the like, I overcame it type of way.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, don't worry, when I was like you. But for some reason, and I've thought about this for years, and I don't know quite how to put it into words, but for some reason, there's a lot of people that tried to have a singing career and fucking couldn't for whatever reason and just disappear.
Yeah.
And you don't hear those voices, do you?
No.
Where do you hear that? You hear the success stories, the people that became famous and went through a hard time and then like persevered.
And nowadays, sorry, go ahead.
But that's not, I mean, I'm pretty much done. That's a minority though.
But
that's an extreme minority, is it not?
And then the other, that's an actual minority. But the problem is that you also see the people who still want it, are still going after it, but aren't necessarily successful at it.
Yeah.
But can how do you say it? To us up.
And they do as if, yeah.
Right. To
they act as if, yeah.
They fake it till they make it, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of that.
Well, that's what I mean. That's
and you can paint it a certain way on social media in such a way. This is. I'm surprised we came down this road. I'm surprised we ended up going this way, but it's informative because you're right. When we talk, so the theme of this episode today is about what to do in a rut.
What in the rut?
What in the rut? What in the rut? Which I never when we came up with the concept of it, I had been thinking the past couple of days, do we mean a vocal rut or do we mean like a personal rut? Which rut are we talking about? I think maybe we should address both tonight.
Yeah. Hey, so we just follow it where it goes, man.
So what kind of, like, do you remember being in like an honest to God bad personal rut? Because, you know, I don't know too many people who are able to just get up and go like you are.
Yeah, man.
And I find it. I'd be a bit surprised if you fall into ruts very often.
Yeah, I mean, like ruts are weird, right? Because you said like vocal rut, you said like performance rut, career rut, life rut, rut sex, you know, whatever you're talking about. But like, I'm gonna make so many
sex in the rut.
I'm making so many rut puns today, which is also a type of rut, man. You start pushing rope out of nowhere. Come on,
that's a bad rut.
Yeah,
dude.
man, that's rut. Anyway, The thing about a rut, though, is if you kind of break it down, is a rut is you have an expectation, whether it's a sports rut or anything. It's like it's actually you have an expectation you're not meeting, and that's how you're defining your rut, right? Without goals, there is no rut. A rut is an inability to progress towards your goal. Like more or less, right? Just for an off-the-cuff definition.
Well, okay, I guess, but when it comes to personal ruts, isn't the lack of a goal normally what drives the rut? So you can't progress towards a goal because you don't necessarily have one. When people end up on the couch eating Cheetos, staying up every night till 3 and sleeping in the next day and just not finding the... I mean, Because
to me, I define rut a bit differently, I guess, than you.
But you know what I mean, right?
I do know what you mean, and I don't know what to call that besides a rut, so maybe it is a subset of it, because to me, a rut is like in sports when a pitcher just can't throw a good game.
Sure.
They're trying. They just can't get it to work.
They're both that. I think they're both ruts, yeah.
Okay. Then that's a spectrum. Yeah, what you're talking about is this like lack of motivation and stuff like that.
Sure, and that's what I mean with you. I don't see you having that.
Yeah.
Like the ability to get up and do something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of days where I do nothing, but I think one reason for that is because I think even with that rut, I would keep my previous definition where it's about expectations, because you feel a sense of failure because you're not getting up off the couch. You have an expectation of the amount of productivity you want to do every day, and you're not achieving that, right? And so in the same way, even that rut, it's like you don't have a goal, but you want a goal.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a goal, to have a goal.
Yeah, the goal is what's kind of
But
not having a goal when you want a goal is what can drive you into the rut.
Yeah, and so a rut to me is being stuck between where you were and where you want to go. Even if you don't know where you're going, you're stuck in the in-between, right?
So that seems okay. I mean, look, hey, by the way, disclaimer. Fucking disclaimer.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
We are not professionals at this stuff. At what we're talking about right now, we are not psychologists or psychiatrists. We cannot help you. If you are struggling with depression or something like that, like for real, like you actually need help, seek help. There's no shame in seeking help. We are here offering anecdotes about how we have gotten out of this before.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself at the point where you can't take what's happening to you, then you got to seek help. This is the only thing that I can tell you that is sort of definitive tonight. If you actually need that help, go fucking find it. The rest of it is us just talking what we know.
No, it's good to say.
So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it's good to bring it up. I mean, because that's a huge thing that people are afraid to discuss, in today's world, especially like my experiences in the States and stuff like that. So reach out and, do the Google search. There's lots of.
Look, I did it just before I came here. I'm like, well, I wonder what sort of help is there for people with people who are looking or people who are having problems. For instance, this is going all the way, but there's a National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Yeah.
Like it's a lifeline where you call in anonymously, right?
Yeah, they have everything from text messages. Like you can kind of, because some people don't want to get on the phone and talk to someone.
Right.
I can imagine that.
Online. There are a bunch.
There's apps, there's messages, there's stuff, and even there's message boards. Go on Reddit or some shit. Like you like, there's helpful people out there. There's people that will help you.
No, sure. And there are like, I think 4 or 5 different websites that are set up to offer free sort of counseling.
Well,
like quote unquote counseling.
I'm going to use this to kind of come to the point that I was going to make, in that I think with the rut, and I think with all this stuff, it's this expectation of how you want things to be. The most important thing with a rut is to keep moving forward, and even if it's one step at a time. And people tend to always be 10 steps into the future. Oh, I want the house, I want the career, I want to be on the stage. Or like with depression and stuff like that, which I've suffered with too in my life, it's I want to be back to work I want to be with my friends, I want to be back at a normal life. Yeah. And people tend to kind of look at the result, but they don't tend to look at the steps in between.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just about every day. And it's the same with starting a business or a project or something. It's like, just do something that inches you in the right direction. And you might not achieve nearly what you wanted to, but if you did something, no matter how immeasurably small, that's how you get out of a rut.
Yeah.
I know you want to say something.
I just want to echo what you said. Go ahead, keep going.
But like when we talked about on the Verity podcast, like when his wife and kids died, and then he had his first opera that failed, the first comedy he did, not his first opera, but his first failure in opera, and then he just was like, fuck this, I'm fucking done, you know? He rutted hard. And he in his books, in his letters, he said like, I think I can blank on the name. The one starts with an N. The one that he came is like
Nabucco.
Nabucco. Yeah, he was writing Nabucco, I think, and he said like, some days I would write a note. I would write one fucking note, and it became 2 notes, and it became 4 notes, and it became an aria. It became a page, and then I wrote the opera, and then I was back. Yeah. But he said that some days he would like write a note.
Yeah.
And that's how you get out of almost any rut.
Yeah.
Is you just do it a note at a time.
And
right?
It's funny. Look, that's so. I called you to when you asked me about today, like if everything's still cool, the kids are taken care of, so we can record and everything. I said, yeah, I was in the middle of doing some research. One of the things I found out that was really interesting was this idea of it's sort of action-based approach to getting out of the rut.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like, all right, actions have to come from some sort of motivation, so they try to find motivation first, and they see this as basically a 3-point line.
Yeah.
Inspiration, motivation, action. So that in finally doing something to get out of that rut. But what this guy said was actually quite informative. He's like, that's a weird way to look at it. There is no like line in life. It's more of a circle. It's more of a cycle, right?
Damn.
And you could conceivably start at any point. We do things all the time in our daily lives without really motivation. We don't need inspiration to take a fucking shower.
No.
But you can get up and do some action, right? And for me that was kind of informative because it's like, all right, anything.
Yeah.
You're in bed, that means getting out and going and doing something. It doesn't even matter what changes that particular state you're in.
Yeah.
And that seems like a ball that once it gets rolling can keep gathering earth to it and just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Like you said, 1 note.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2, and then maybe an aria, and then you're
go
done.
as small as you can, because to talk about like depression, for instance, it's like taking a shower can be an insurmountable fucking task if you're truly fucking depressed. And so it's like that's too big, you know. And so it's like, you know, maybe getting a fresh glass for your fucking water or like some shit, you know. But it's just doing something, you know. And again, I would really be wary of expectations. I think we tend to like not realize how many expectations we're setting for ourselves because we're fixated on failure or not being where we want to be. And that's a backwards way of looking at your expectations. You know what I mean? It's like you're not defining your expectations. You're just defining the lack of meeting your expectations, but you're not even aware, nor have you defined what they are.
It's hard for me to talk about this a bit because like depression, like clinical depression, I've never suffered from clinical depression. I've been depressed, meaning cripplingly sad, or in some kind of a rut before, which I wouldn't necessarily call depression. But so some of my remedies or the way I would approach it might not work for everybody, but they seem to work for me, for God's sake.
Yeah.
There was this one, I think we talked about it before. Excuse me. This fucking beer's bubbly. Where you, like when you smile, when you if you're not happy, but you actually move your face, the muscles in your face to the position of a smile, and you hold it for a little bit, endorphins are actually released. Yeah. Because
in a healthy brain, right? Some people don't.
That's what I mean. So I can't speak for them, but it is in many cases the case that just the action can beget some sort of psychological response. Now, for me, the first place it starts for me, if I'm in a rut, the first thing I try to do is fuck it clean. Clean. If I'm in a rut, it is almost guaranteed guaranteed that my place looks like fucking shit. For me, it's always that way. If I'm rutting or if I don't have shit together, there's shit everywhere. And I feel like I can't start anything until that's clean.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is the weird part, I like to put on nice clothes when I do it. For some reason, that helps me to get out of that rut. When I can look good, I'm not talking like a suit, but when I can walk by a mirror, when I can walk by a mirror, which they're in our house, and if I walk by and I happen to look like a fucking douchebag, that I fall right back in. It's hard.
No, it's true, and everybody has their thing. It's kind of like in a semi-unrelated, but not like topic. I was talking to someone today about diets, like different diets people have, because Corona, a lot of us are going through the same thing. A lot of us are getting heavier. A lot of us are rutting hard.
I sent you a picture today.
Right. But we were talking about diets, and I was bringing up my dad, who is every time someone had a wedding, the guy would lose like 30 fucking pounds. You know what I mean? Like just wham, just right down, thin, wedding photos, just fuck yeah. And he had these crazy fucking diets, right? And so for I think my sister's wedding, he did the popcorn diet, which is like he replaced 2 meals a day with popcorn.
Oh my God.
Worked for him. Then for my brother's wedding, he did the bowl diet, and he bought some bowl, and he was like, I'll eat whatever I want as long as it fits in this bowl, which is just a weird way of doing portion control.
You're right.
But the guy got results, and that worked for him, but I would never do that, nor would I suggest what he did for somebody else.
Right.
And I think when you have depression or singing ruts or relationship ruts or whatever, you have to be careful with anything in life. If someone gives you the way to get out of it, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, but it's the point. It's that, again, I want to keep making this caveat. People who are clinically depressed work differently than I am. But what I do know is I've tried different ways before. I've tried different ways to get myself out of my rut, and a lot of them didn't work. It's a trial and error thing for most people, that you just got to find something that gets you moving.
Yeah.
And moving is the key. There are little little sayings are always really, really good to remember. Something like idle hands do the devil's work, or a rolling stone gathers no moss. Those always stick in my head. Whenever I can do something, then I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, it's true. And
this is the way you get at. No, I'm just kidding.
But the thing about, and we're kind of talking about something that's a bit more topical, in that we're kind of discussing Corona and stuff like that. Like basically the lack of having something to do, and the general sense of kind of depression and stuff. But
it's good to talk about. I mean, it's a general topic that happens all the time, Corona or not. It just probably happens a lot more now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was that if we talk about kind of general ruts that people have maybe had in their lives or something like that, as singers, there's definitely ruts. I mean, you've had singing ruts.
Of course.
I'm not going to call you out on the air.
No, call me out. We can talk. We've talked about it before on the air.
Yeah. It's fucking hard, man. It's hard because it's people we talk about social media and stuff. They sell it like there's this definitive goal, like there's this definitive point you're going to that you will someday achieve, and you will be like, yes, it was all worth it. I did it. I'm a singer. But I don't know, anyone who says that they reached that point, I don't think knows what the fuck they're talking about. You know, there is not a gig or a show or a thing. Do you feel like you're I made it? I mean,
no.
I feel like a professional singer just because I have years of work that I've done, but I'm not I achieved that thing.
No,
you know what I mean?
That thing is oftentimes just some fucking construct that people have made of the industry.
Oh, so that's what I mean, is that we seem to people are promoting it, or they feel pressure to have a very specific place they need to end up, but nobody knows what that place is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and these are people who are they're unsatisfied when they get a good paying gig at a small opera company because it's not the Met.
And that's what I mean, is I think that's how these ruts happen, because you're like, oh, I'm not where I wanted to be. And you're like, well, where exactly did you want to be?
Well,
and they're like, I don't know. And it's like, well, that's why you're fucking not achieving it, man. You know.
So a couple things to unpack, I think. One, you're talking about the career expectations you put on yourself. Yeah, I'm totally on your side with this. I mean, like,
or even like singing or anything.
Well, yeah, but okay, but singing might be a little different because singing is maybe a little bit more like technique. So the rut that I was in was a technical rut, which was clear, which was objectively a rut.
Yeah.
You know? Like, people could be in a career rut when their career is going really well.
Yeah.
It's just some sort of thing that they put on it. But if I can't hit the A when I have to hit it, if I can't hit a B when I have to hit it, that is an objectively, like, technical rut.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's one of the harder ones, I think.
So when you talk about the expectations, I'm on your side. You know what? If you're getting into this and you don't have artistic expectations, you're gonna probably have a really bad time, even if you have success, because like you said, you could always be bigger. You could always reach Pavarotti level, the second most recognizable face in the entire fucking world when he was alive.
Yeah, sure,
right?
Sure.
You could always get there,
fucking
but
Pav.
why is that? Why, like, just constantly grappling upwards and upwards and upwards doesn't seem to me doesn't seem like a goal that is worth having. And that's why when you say, do you feel like you've reached it? Well, no, I never had that because it was always like, it was always an artistic thing that I wanted to go after. It was always something like, yeah, I like expressing myself. It's why, again, our recital, I keep sounding like a fucking broken record, but our recital was more gratifying to me than anything I've done till this fucking point.
Yeah.
Because we said exactly what we wanted to fucking say, you know?
Which you can now check out online.
You can check it out. You can check it out online. It's on. There's an official YouTube channel for it. Words of Reason, Songs of Unbelief. It's also on Jared's YouTube channel. Go check that shit out. It's good stuff. But that was, like, to me, I set a goal. I set a goal that I alone was responsible for reaching.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't anybody that had to judge me and give me an okay that then would dictate whether I reached it or not.
Yeah.
Some people say it's like, I want that audition. I want to sing at that opera house. That means you have to go and kill it, and then you are at the fucking mercy of just some people who were, I don't know, like fucking talking about what sort of upholstery the renovation of the theater should have for next year, and then they pop in for 5 fucking minutes to hear you squeak out a couple numbers, and they don't give a fuck about you or your dreams or your ambition or anything like that. And they're like, I like the guy last week better. Boom, you're done.
Yeah.
And now your expectation is completely fucking crushed because it wasn't an artistic one.
Yeah, no, that's true. But like with vocal ruts, to like you pull one of those, and then you got to come back and try to do it the next night, and you do it again. That's hard because if you haven't had that at least once in your life, it's fucking coming for you.
Have you?
Oh yeah, man. Do you remember? I mean, we were in Oldenburg, you and I, and it was Christmas time, and I had an audition at the theater in Mannheim. Right? For the Young Artists Program. This was a long time ago. And I had just come off some hot gigs, and like these people knew who I was. And I remember I felt like a fucking baller. I went down there, I was sitting in the cantina, and it was me and all these other bass baritons that looked fucking exactly like me. And the intendant, like the opera director, the leader of this, all the hot shots walked by, and the main guy saw me. He's like, Jared, we're really looking forward to hearing you today.
In front of the other guys.
In front of everybody. They didn't know who these fucking people were. They knew my fucking name. And I was like, I got this shit. I go out there. I sang Leporello, right? Cracked, right? There's like the Donye for my Donye. I was like, Donye. Just fucking cracked. I had never cracked in my life.
I have never heard you crack in my life.
That was,
ever.
To this day, that's the only time I've ever cracked. I've never cracked before. And I cracked like a fucking egg, man. And so it's the palpable disappointment. You know what I mean?
That depresses me so much. I'm in a rut now.
Yeah, but I drove. The worst thing is I had to drive home the 5-6 hours to Oldenburg just sitting in the stink of that cracky note. I don't even think they asked for a second piece. And I ended up getting like Chinese food with this guy like a month later. And I was going to try to like weasel my way back into like, hey, that wasn't a normal thing. And he was like, yeah, man, but we need people who don't fuck that up, you know? And it was just gone. It was just fucking gone. And it fucked me up for a while. And I rutted hard. And, it created performance anxiety then, which I think is what happens when you're in a vocal rut. The other rut's something else not, but when you're in a vocal rut, you fucked it up, and then the next time that note comes, you're like, oh, shit, man, and then you fuck it up again, you're going down a bad fucking road. Yeah. And I think it's an important road because I think a lot of, I'm kind of soapboxing here, but like, I think a lot of young singers, they sing on ego. I did, I think up to that point maybe, but it's like, I was like, these people can't wait to hear this fucking shit. You know, there was some amount of ego, like I am good and that's why I can do this. You know what I mean? And not this acceptance that like it can go wrong and it's fine if it goes wrong, which is the healthier place to get to eventually. And I think you have to go through a period of some performance anxiety so that you recalibrate the reason you're doing it and your fear of failure. We talked about permission to fail on one of these podcasts once. And I think then once you've come to peace and come to terms with the fact that if you fail, it doesn't make you a bad singer, then you can go back out there. And I think it's an important process. I think a rut, at some point, a vocal rut like that is important. You have to face that. You have to face.
How'd you get out?
I read a lot. I'll suggest it again. I think back in season 1, I suggested The Inner Game of Tennis, which is about athletes who go through this that have to perform in front of the whole world and they fuck up. I read a couple other weird like Zen books, and I got pretty fucking weird, and I tried meditation and fucking everything. But again, I found myself a small gig where like no one would fucking see what I was doing, and I went out there and I did it, and I was nervous as shit, like as if it was my Met premiere. And I was at like some cafe somewhere or some shit, you know. And step by step, like I've been saying all along, I just kind of went back into it until finally I trusted myself. And I think years down the road, I had another mistake or something I fucked up, but at that point I got to a point where it's like it was fine. It didn't make me a bad singer because I fucking made a mistake. If you haven't made a mistake on stage, you haven't sung enough. Yeah. It's like YouTube videos. Like when marketing people look at YouTube videos, if you have 1,000 thumbs up and 0 thumbs down, you would think that'd be a good thing. No, that means not enough people have seen your video outside of your target niche. You need failures. You need thumbs down. You need people talking shit to you on fucking Instagram to know that you're reaching enough people, because nobody's liked by everybody, and nobody's perfect all the time. You know what I mean? No?
No, I do. You got me thinking. Sorry. I know thinking's bad for the air, dude.
Yeah, man. You can't fucking think on the air. Just react. Yeah, no, sorry. I kind of ranted there, but it's like
No, it really gets me to think. The one thing that you said that really rung for me was that one get back on your feet gig. I remember my get back on my feet gig.
Yeah, that was important, yeah.
It was at what was it called? A digital, like a digital marketing conference.
When was this?
This was, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago?
I don't remember this. Yeah.
So it was like this conference that was held in Frankfurt at the convention center, right? It was huge.
Yeah.
Fucking huge. I don't know where the fuck this guy found me, but he's like, hey, we'd like you to sing at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, really? And I'm like, okay, well, I have something I could sing. And he's like, actually, I looked at your website, and I like this piece. It was Frisch zum Kampfe, right? Now, listen. I'll let you guys in on what the fucking struggle was. I've been singing now for 11 years in Germany.
Yeah.
It's been kind of click, 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 automatic. Like not automatic, like in how I perform, but my voice was never an issue.
Yeah, you didn't.
That was never an issue. I was that was just working, and it was working the way I wanted it to. And all of a sudden, mid 30s come around, and boom, I start having problems on one note, one vowel, and it happens to be an ah on an A.
Yeah.
On a high A. Now, if you guys don't know the Spieltenor repertoire,
there's a lot of those.
That's all you fucking sing in your auditions.
A's are what you're doing.
That's all you do. Any important aria you have to sing is that, right? So I had already been working it up. I had been figuring out how the fuck do I figure this out.
So this is coming out of the rut. for this gig. You're trying to figure out how to do this comeback gig.
I had a bunch of Don Basilio, right?
Yeah.
In Marriage of Figaro, right?
Right.
I never feared that role or anything. That was not one that is particularly difficult or anything like that for me. But that role came about right when I was like, oh, what the fuck is going on? And there are some ensembles that just are right there. They you have lots of, like the finale is like that, where you're just singing a bunch of A's. And it was like, thank God that I was able to be covered up by other people there. Yeah. I was able to just sort of pull back and be like, all right, everybody thinks I'm really singing here, but I'm not singing so hard, right? Sorry, Darmstadt. That's what was happening during those performances. I had to figure it out. I had to fucking figure it out. Yeah. Anyway, I start figuring it out, and this guy comes along. He's like, yeah, this is what we want. Because it's like, go to the because frisch zum Kampfe means like fresh for the fight, right? He's like, fresh for the fight of marketing strategies, right? He literally said something like that. He's like, I want people to feel like they gotta get up and go after it.
What a weird
And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay.
There's no way this is gonna pump people up. It's gonna weird them out.
No,
man.
It was weirding them out. It was in one of those dry ass. It wasn't in the main conference thing, because that's where people. The main conference thing is where all of the stands were set up.
Yeah.
They were doing commerce.
Yeah.
They were earning money with like shit to sell and pamphlets to give.
Yeah.
And on the side was this fucking like a side event.
Yeah.
And I look in the. By the way, he sent me this like brochure, and leading up to this, which I never would have even thought that this is something that would make me nervous.
Yeah.
Singing my audition aria for a bunch of
bankers who aren't even
fucking people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
No, they were all intently watching.
Oh, were they?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
So, but he sent me this thing, and it was like Chief Marketing Officer of the Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
Chief Marketing
all the big cheeses.
Our star speakers, star, like the people that are performing, and my face as big as these people who are earning millions of dollars a year and like huge in their
Michael
industry.
Pegger to sing
Star Tenor, he wrote.
Yeah.
Fucking Star Tenor.
Star Tenor.
And I open it up, I'm like, no! God! No!
When did you see it? Like backstage or what?
Well, no, I think I saw it before. No, I did. I saw it when I walked in.
Yeah,
and I sent a picture to Dodo. I'm like, all right, here we go now.
So you were like, I'll do an easy gig. I'll get back into it.
Sorry this is turning into such a fucking story, but
it's fine.
Now that I think about it, it was actually kind of funny because
we need some humor on this podcast. It's been pretty dark up to this point.
You go on auditions and stuff like that, and the first thing you do is, where's my corner? Where's the corner where I can go pop out a couple of these high notes seconds before I go on, just to make sure,
Yeah,
You're
check.
like, wait, is this still there? It's still there.
Can
Good.
I still sing?
Okay, good. It's there.
Yeah.
Everything was locked.
Yeah. Every door.
Every door. Every escape.
Dry and cold.
I eventually went back. Like there was some like workers thing. I went like in a do not enter area, right?
Yeah.
And there was like a locker room for the people. And I just like, fuck it, I'm going in there. And I locked the door until somebody fucking knocked.
Nice.
And they did.
Yeah.
And my trick that I got so that I could sing that A, I just worked it in. And I went and did it. And I was on right after like this. He was like a 14-year-old Rubik's Cube master who then founded some sort of online company. He's a millionaire now.
Sure.
Gives some sort of inspirational speech. Yeah. And I get up there with a fucking track on my phone that, I have my way. So I have my way of singing that aria.
Yeah, sure.
And the accompaniment that I found was not that way. So I had to like import it and then stretch out some sections and then put the exact right pause in and do it. Took me fucking hours to do with this fucking like brink. And I stand up there and I give it my fucking all. But whatever, that actually worked. It proved to me that I was able to stand, because I don't know if I've ever been more nervous on an operatic stage.
Yeah.
than when I sang that shit.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's a really good story that leads to a lot of interesting points. And a couple things are like one quick note I want to make before I say what I actually want to say is that like sometimes this might sound a little 2021 to say, but like you kind of have to know your triggers sometimes. Like the shit was like, I can't fucking sing under these circumstances. Like you don't want to be a diva, but you want to know the shit that freaks you out. And I've come to this point to know that there's situations that I'm like you're rushing me. You know what I mean? It's fucking raining. I ran here. Like it's better to be like, no. I'm not ready yet. Even at an audition, it's better to like fucking like know. So that's one part of also feeling like you can do what you do. And so for your thing, it's like I
should have gotten up there and been like, no.
No, but you found a place. You were like, I need that. And a lot of people would have been like, well, I guess I can't have that. That's going to fuck your shit up. If that's what you need, like you don't want to go down the dark road of needing all this like voodoo shit to fucking sing, but like the stuff you need. But anyway, the point I wanted to make was Mike Mays back in the day was on the podcast. And I don't know if he said this on the podcast or if this was a private conversation that him and I had, but he was talking about this gig he did. Do you remember the gig? He did some like there was some opera he did where he had to play like a prisoner of war.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Glory...
something like that.
Fucking
like glory, hallelujah or something.
Yeah, keep going.
But anyway, he had to play this prisoner of war, and like before the performance, it's like the family, like I hope he doesn't mind me telling the story if he didn't tell on the podcast.
I think he did.
I think he did.
I remember.
So I'll bring it back up, but I think he said like, like they gave him this coin and they gave him this shit. Like, this is our father's. I think the guy was maybe even there, and it was on TV and shit like that. And so maybe on the podcast I asked him, or like I said, maybe privately, I was like, how did you fucking do that? You're telling this guy's story. It's on TV. Everyone's watching you. The amount of fucking pressure. And he said, I just didn't think about it. Which, again, is a very, very big
Ignorance is bliss.
Of performance anxiety is that if you're thinking about it, it's fear. Fear is a worry about something in the future. That's what fear is by definition. Yeah. And honestly, it's better not to think about it and not to think positive thoughts because you're still in this realm of judgment where you're like, I'm good. That was good, right? And you're trying to trick yourself into being as good. Just don't think about it. Yeah. Just don't fucking think about it.
So I think we definitely talked about this at some point where I said, I think maybe Mike Wallace or somebody said, don't think about how you're doing, but what you're doing. And in our case, which I always found informative because in our case, that would be immersing yourself in the character. Yeah. Doing something like that.
And find what works for you. People always say like, focus on your breath. That doesn't really work for me because my breath's never been a problem,
My breath stinks.
I don't really think about it too much.
Totally.
That doesn't work for me. Some people like, I have this exact way that I breathe. I just fucking I don't think about it. It doesn't work for me.
Right.
But yeah, like character might work for me. But some of you, maybe like making sure that you're through all your consonances. Maybe that's what gets you. But yeah, think about what you're doing, not how you're doing. Is totally good advice.
Because that's translatable to many different ways of thinking about what you're doing.
Yeah, but again, if someone tells you, if you got to, like I read an article, I think it was by the same guy you told a story about once that like had this fucking program where you try to speak your mind.
Oh,
I think that guy wrote an article, and if it's the same guy, I think it is. But and it was like, are you a Plan A singer or a Plan B singer?
That's what he used to say. That fucking dick face.
Okay, everyone knows who he is now. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. I already got a career, man. Try to ruin it. But this stuff, it's like
a fucking dick. How did you come across that?
It was when I was reading all this like shit
about. But when I told you the story,
no, it was about performance anxiety. Back
oh
when
my god!
I read like The Art of Zen, The Inner Game of Tennis. I read his shit. I read some really spiritual fucking like meditate. I read everything because I was like, I just want to know the spectrum and I'll make my own decisions, right? And anyway, a lot of this stuff where it's like, this is the way. I don't trust that shit at all.
Yeah,
I don't trust it at all.
That fucking dickbag. He's not a performer. He doesn't understand that Plan A doesn't work all the time.
Are you Plan A? Yeah. Well, just believe you'll do the best, and you'll do the best.
I remember.
Oh, okay. like I just like. Is that how it works? Like
he would be like, he would like.
You're not believing in yourself.
Oh, was that the problem? Was that the problem?
Yeah.
Or could it be that I have zero technique?
Yeah.
Could that be it? Could it? Could it really?
Could it be that my fucking girlfriend dumped me before the gig?
Look, don't be a Plan B singer. Listen, people, the Plan A-est of Plan A people.
Yeah.
Just go look at the cracks of famous singers. All of them,
black pearls.
They did not. They weren't following Plan A. No, they just fucking cracked.
How many times has Alanya fucking cracked, Ed?
Oh man.
And so he keeps going. He keeps going. And that's the thing is I've shared the stage with some like pretty big people, and they don't seem to give a shit when they fuck up. And it's not a persona. They're just like, nah. I'm better than that.
Yeah, and it's because you have to keep. There's no alternative.
Yeah,
the opera's not stopping for you.
Yeah, and like I'll kind of reiterate what I said before. Like usually young singers do it based on ego, and some of these famous people do too. But it's like either you're like, oh, I'm so good that was an exception. I'm not normally like that. That is one way to look at it. But I think the healthier way to look at it is just like, nobody's fucking perfect, and I made a mistake. And if you think that I'm a bad singer because you saw me make a mistake, then you are the inexperienced one. You haven't stood on stage enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Mistakes just fucking happen, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if mistakes haven't happened to you, you haven't spent enough time on stage.
That's right.
They will fucking happen.
You haven't risked anything on
It's not your
stage.
fault. Sometimes like the conductor drops a beat and then you didn't have time to breathe.
Sometimes you drop a beat.
The high notes coming. It's like
sometimes just turning,
you're barking up there,
turning one way on the fucking stage, like, and you turned a little quick, and you're like, oh, that person's not where they. Oh, and now you're behind.
Yeah.
You didn't even have a whole thought. You had a partial thought and now you're gone. And now that music has gone on, and you hadn't. Now you're a little behind. Now you're on Plan B, motherfucker.
Oh man, I forgot to be good.
I didn't listen to my master.
Yeah.
Fucking God.
I remember.
Glory denied, by the way.
Glory denied. Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry, Maze. I did this one gig once where I remember I was walking and I just stepped. I didn't slip. I just stepped, and my foot snapped like it broke. I swear to God. Inside, like on the top, those bones were just like pop. Like I swear I heard it pop like a fucking wine cork. And it was some of the worst pain I've had in my life, right? I fucked up a few notes after that. You know what I mean? And I couldn't walk for like 3 days after that. Still to this day, I don't know what fucking happened, right? It's like this shit happens.
Yeah.
I did Giovanni once. I was like, they always put a pile of grapes on stage for Giovanni. I don't know fucking why. I was popping grapes. I got a seed like lodged in between my nose and like my tear duct. You know what I mean? Fin Caravino was a bit fucked that night. It's like this shit happens, you know? It's fucking fine.
That's
fucking
right.
fine, man.
Look, for me, when it comes vocally, if you have a teacher that you trust, you know, that can help you. Getting back to like what happens, where do you find it? It was terrifying for me. It was terrifying for me, and actually one of the big things that kind of my mentality generally, and when it comes to singing is, all right, it's time, go do it.
So it has to.
And I don't really hesitate. I don't really do anything. It's never like auditions are never a thing for me because it's always like, all right, now it's time. Go. Now it's time, go. And that has, unfortunately, that sort of I never canceled shit during that period because I maybe should have. I maybe should have taken some time and been like, you know what? I need some time to get this shit back in line because we would all benefit. You would get better performances from me. I wouldn't be, sweating through my third pair of underwear during the performance because I'm shitting myself.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I wouldn't be so goddamn nervous, right? But with these performances, I still had that mentality. I was nervous, but I had that mentality. Just go fucking do it.
That's actually,
and that fucked me up a bit too.
Yeah, but that's how you the just go do it.
Yeah,
but
the just go do it also because.
I mean, that's a good thing, generally.
It is a good thing.
Yeah.
It is a good thing, but I was in that rut. There was a technical thing going on that I had to address.
Oh, I see.
To this day, I've always heard people talk about in their beginning to mid 30s, you go through like another voice change. That's what was happening for me. And because I just said, fuck it, time to go. I struggled through a lot.
But what you should have done, I think, is like, because that's a good mentality, but balanced with like I've done the work, I've stressed about this, and now it's time to perform. I think that's the healthier balance, right?
Yeah, except
that's what you're saying you should have done because it's time to do my best.
No, I'm saying I probably should have taken some time off.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean. It's smart to take some time off. It's smart to see a teacher. It's smart to practice, to work on it.
Yeah.
But when it's time to go back on stage, then you readapt that mentality.
Absolutely.
That's
of
a
course.
very good mentality. And I think, I've never thought about this before, but I think performance anxiety is a bit like if you have to break up with someone. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but like it's like you're in the room and they're like talking about some bullshit and you're like, I'm going to break up with you in 5 minutes. And you don't fucking know. You know?
No
and it's
idea.
like it's this fear and this talking to yourself and you're like, I should have done it. That was the moment. Fuck. Fuck. The moment's gone. Fuck. Okay. Here's another fuck. This like,
and then you get the, is everything okay?
Yeah, you're like, well, but like
that you can't do it then.
Yeah. So you're like, well, this is weird. This is not what I thought in mind. But performance anxiety is a bit like that. And in those moments, and also on the stage, it's better just to start saying the words. And it's like in singing, it's just start singing. You know what I mean? Because it's the same thing in singing. You're like, here it comes. Oh, fuck, I fucked that one up. But it's like your mentality is actually, I think, the best one. Just fucking. You just have to do it. And you can't stop. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
So why not try your hardest at it?
So that is what I did while I was performing.
Yeah.
That mentality then adapted into how I addressed the problem. I addressed the problem by just do it, right? Mm-hmm. Just get in the thing and just do it like you've always done it. Didn't work. All right. Just do something else. Getting back to what we first talked about.
Yeah.
Just an action. Because I would stop singing. I would crack on it the way I've sung it 1 billion times. I would crack. I'm like, this feels the same. This feels the same. Here it comes. Feels exactly the same. Great, I'm going to do it. Boom, crack. Fuck. And it would be depressing. I wouldn't want to sing anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are people listening?
Yeah.
Is there somebody walking by? Fuck. I can't believe I can't do this. But then the thing that got me going was try it. Try something else.
Yeah.
And just exploring. I played more with my voice.
Nice.
In that period than I've ever done with vowels, with the colors.
But it's funny. It's funny when these changes happen in your life. You have to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And what going back to the beginning does not mean like the basics of singing. Like the basics are. But when you're learning to sing, a good singing teacher will tell you like, look, if it feels wrong, it's probably the right direction because what your impulse is, like what you're
not working.
Is not working. Yeah. So like if it feels weird, like obviously not painful, but if it feels unusual, if it feels foreign, that might be the right way. And
absolutely.
that's to me what going back to the beginning is like rediscover something.
When I
eventually
found the thing,
yeah,
I thought that can't be it. That can't. I know it's. I know the tone is stable.
It's always
the
simple
vibrato
somehow,
is
right?
good.
Yeah.
But that cannot be it. That just can't be it. And it ended up fucking being it. And I thought to myself, I think now, I am so much better equipped now to be a teacher than I was before that crisis.
You got to go through one of those phases. You got to. It's important.
What would I have told a student? I would have told them exactly how I always do it and thought, well, if you can't do that, I guess you can't be a singer.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I would have said, but now
that's
I'm
what
like...
you see a lot of people doing.
Yeah,
you have different phases of life where you need different voices. I hear recordings when I was 23, and it's like some of these recordings of this like shit I used to sing that was like more lyric. It's like, I wish I could sing like that still. Yeah. I would love to be able to make those sounds, but I can't. They're like these young, vibrant, metallic sounds. It's like, I can't. That's not a part of my voice anymore.
Painful things my wife ever said to me was, I played a recording of, she says, wow, you sound so young. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Because now you're like, you're doing that shit. You're warbling. All right, we gotta move on here. Good discussion though, man.
Good discussion. Ruts are painful people.
Yeah. Ruts are painful.
Seek out opinions. By the way, I talk to more people than I ever have before. Talk to more colleagues than I ever have before about technique and stuff. Reach out. You don't have to do that shit alone.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. Is you. It can have. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you have to reach out. You have to start getting opinions, but from people you trust. Because once you open the door, you can't fucking close it.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
That's true.
Okay, so we got 4 sponsors today, man.
Yay, baby.
So we took some time off. So we're gonna. I guess we'll announce these sponsors. Huh? You want to do 2? I'll do 2.
Okay, cool.
All right, you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All right, so it's.
I'll go first.
Hold on. Let me get this queued up here so you can fucking do it. Oh. There you go. Come on, take that
Number 1! Who you got? Tobacco! New Bugger! Right behind them, Emily. No last name, no nothing.
Yeah, she just
Emily.
did. She just Emily. Some people they just want the one name. Coming in third, we got Stefan Dana. Woo, dang. Then coming in at the rear, we got Wes Taliani.
Taliani getting it from behind.
Wes
baby.
Taliani. Michael Nürnberger. Emily. Stefan Dana. Wes Taliani. Come on down, motherfuckers.
Woo!
No, seriously.
That
Thank
was
you
our
guys.
best timed.
Yeah,
that was our best
we're getting
timed one
better at it.
ever.
A little time off helps, right?
Yeah.
Rut canceled. For you, thank you so much for your sponsorship. You now have access to the secret sponsor section, which today will be the opposite of this podcast. This podcast, we talk about ruts, what to do when you're at the low point. And in the next podcast, we'll talk about them high points, what to do when you got the money, when you won the competition, when you got the gig.
How to handle that
How to handle that fucking power and success.
and how to be prepared for the inevitable rut that's coming sometime afterwards.
How to be prepared for the fall off of that cloud. So the four of you, thank you so much for your sponsorship.
Seriously, guys, you make the world turn for us.
You know, let me say your names normally because we fucking shout these things and everyone just like probably skips
We
it.
don't have to shout them, but that music
I know,
very
man.
much
Yeah,
shouty.
Yeah, I know. It's just what it's becoming.
Like, what am I supposed to do
and
with
unless
that?
somebody starts emailing us that like they fucking stopped listening because we do that, we're gonna keep doing it because it's fucking fun. Michael Newberger, okay, Emily, Stefan Dana, Wes Taliani.
How do you spell Stefan?
Stefan, I guess. Sorry, Stefan. Sorry, the font's a bit small here. That's why I'm laughing because I can barely read these. Stefan Dana. So that's a Stefan Dana.
Nice.
Anyway, thank you all so much for your sponsorship. So I guess that's kind of it for us for today for this podcast.
Yeah, basically.
Basically, or yes.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, people! By the way, if you want to sponsor us, you get now 3 full seasons of secret sponsor podcasts. I always love hearing from the secret sponsors about how, like, they've been up to date on the normal ones, and then they're starting back at the beginning. So what they'll hear is they'll hear season 1 comparison to season 4, and they talk about how different it is.
Oh, sure.
And I love that.
Yeah. You get, of course, an extra. You just double your podcast right off the bat. You get some behind-the-scenes stuff, but also Mike and I had on Christmas. We had a successful live stream.
Yeah, it was great.
I think when we recorded the podcast, we hadn't done the live stream yet. It was upcoming.
That's
right. But
right.
then we released the podcast after the live stream, so it was a bit confusing. But the live stream was a big success. Mike and I made some fucking glühwein. We opened gifts. We told stories. People were interacting. They were asking us questions live. It was really good. So we'll definitely do.
We got good gifts too. You thought yours was a dud? Whew! Beautiful.
Oh,
I
nice.
used it the other day.
Good. So
To find out what it is, you must become a sponsor.
And these live streams are still available in the secret sponsor section. In season 3, you go in there, you click, and you can watch it as if it was live. But for our secret sponsors, we will be doing more of these live streams this year. So look out for those. And for the rest of you, take care of yourself. We're glad to be back in season 4. Nice to be in 2021.
Good to be here.
Take care of yourselves. We'll see y'all 2 weeks.